Hello, we begin with breaking news from Israel. A Hezbollah drone strike has hit one of the residences of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the north. Netanyahu's spokesman says the Prime Minister was not in the vicinity at the time of the attack. No casualties have been reported. While the residence is located in the city of Caesarea, Israeli military says 3 drones were launched from Lebanon, but 2 were intercepted. And Hezbollah's rocket attacks have injured 13 people in northern Israel. The Israeli military says 55 rockets were fired. Some of them were intercepted. In a moment, we'll get an update from Beirut with Ali Hashim. But first, let's bring in Noor Audish. She's joining us from the Jordanian capital, Amman, because the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting in the occupied West Bank and from inside Israel. But you're keeping an eye out on what's being said in Israel when it comes to not only the 55 rockets at least that have been launched from Lebanon, but also that drone strike that targeted the Prime Minister's house, Noor.
The latest update was on the number of injured, and it came from the Israeli Army radio, saying that 13 people were injured, light to moderate injuries, and those injuries are in Shlomi, a town in northern Israel of 6,000 residents, but also in Kiryat Ata in the Haifa Bay area. Now, as you said, 55 rockets were launched, but then there was those 3 drones that targeted Caesarea, or Caesarea as it's known. The target, according to Israeli media, was the house of the Israeli Prime Minister. We understand from a statement from his office that the family of the Prime Minister was not in the house at the time, but we haven't heard more details. This is, of course, a very important development, and the security establishment, according to some leaks, is taking this very seriously. They consider this a very significant security breach. Note that, first of all, the sirens did not go off when that drone attack happened, and the helicopters and the air defense systems were not able to intercept all of the drones. In fact, there are some really breathtaking images of a helicopter flying by one of the drones over the skies of Caesarea this morning. So that will be, the subject of a lot of debate and consideration in the security establishment, but also in the Israeli media come Sunday when life resumes. This is a Saturday, it's a holiday, but it's also a religious holiday today. And so there is very scant media coverage and media activity today. Yeah,
Noor, you were just referring to that video of the helicopter with the drone flying back. Yeah, we'll just put it on our screen right now. There it is. So you'll see for our viewers, you'll see the drone in just a moment. There it is, on its way to Caesarea. The target, of course, is the Israeli Prime Minister's residence. But Noor, let me ask you about I hear what you're saying about this being a breach and the security establishment taking this seriously. But what about the psychological impact of this on Israelis themselves?
I would imagine it would be quite powerful, because not only are more and more Israelis hearing sirens, seeing rockets, hearing of the drone attacks, seeking shelter if it's available in their communities. The promises of the Israeli government that this attack on Lebanon, this escalation, was in fact launched in order to return the 60,000 or so Israelis that had left their towns in northern Israel over a year ago. And now more Israelis are seeking shelter. This has a direct impact and is quite disruptive on daily life, on business, on the economy, which is already suffering quite significantly after a year of war. The status of the Israeli economy has been downgraded twice during this year because of the spending on the war, because of the losses. So there's a lot of impact, really mostly psychologically. The morale would be affected, especially coming after that high, those celebrations we saw when Israel confirmed and announced the killing of the leader of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar, earlier in Rafah, in southern Gaza. So very brief moments of celebrations, of feeling like there was actually some achievements happening. But all in all, this is turning out to be somewhat of an attrition situation where the clashes are prolonged and people have to plan their lives accordingly.
Okay, thank you so much. Noor Odeh reporting from Amman for us. We'll bring in Ali Hashim now, who's joining us from Beirut. So, Ali, to what extent is this being seen as the new phase which Hezbollah promised earlier this week?
Well, indeed, it seems that this is not only the beginning of a new phase, but a continuation of what Naim Qassem started talking about in his last speech when he said that Hezbollah would start inflicting pain on Israel. Now, we have a statement from Hezbollah that was just released with respect to the attack, the barrage that was launched towards Haifa, and linked this attack. The statement says it's in retaliation to Israel's attacks on the southern villages and towns. In a way or another, Hezbollah is saying Haifa would be hit anytime the south is being hit. Now, these are equations that might not be very clear in a situation of war, but that would mean also that hitting Dahi or Beirut would or could take things towards another barrage being launched towards Tel Aviv. But what we have right now is something that's separate and out of this day-to-day context. It's related more into the situation of the big hits. When Hezbollah is launching its drones towards the Prime Minister's house in Caesarea, and this just gives an indication that Hezbollah is climbing the ladder of escalation quickly. In the past, Hezbollah, during the life of its late Secretary General, was absorbing all the hits that it was receiving. Several assassinations in Beirut, Beirut's southern suburb, the killing of Saleh al-Aruri, deputy Politburo chief of Hamas in the southern suburb, killing of Fuad Shukr in the southern suburb, were not retaliated to in such a situation. But now we're seeing a different situation. We're seeing a different path that Hezbollah is taking. And this takes us into a big question here. Just after a month of Hezbollah being hit directly in the head when Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated, and before that, the pager attacks and the walkie-talkie attacks, and then the killing of the Rudwan forces. We're seeing the different layers of Hezbollah now on the 18th of October functioning just like nothing has happened. Control and command is working. Chain of command is working. Hezbollah launching drones that deep, and also intelligence units are working, because to hit the house of the Prime Minister, there should be intel. We saw the Hippo, the Hezbollah's drone, coming with pictures from Haifa in the past days. So military intelligence is also working. And on the borders, 120 kilometers till the moment, and after 3 weeks, Israel has only taken 6 to 9 points. And there is still engagement, and there is still fierce battles going on in the south.
Ali, I want to ask you about what's happening in Lebanon and stuff, but just stand by for just a moment, because we're showing some live pictures on our screen right now. That is from Shlomi. That is in the north of Israel, where rockets were launched towards that area as well from Lebanon. And we now know that at least 4 people have been injured in that area in Shlomi, and that is near the Lebanese border in northern Israel. So that is the live picture. As you can see, the smoke billowing from the rocket attacks. Let's bring in Ali, though, once again. So, Ali, as that happens in the northern areas of Israel, what's happening in the rest of Lebanon? Because earlier today, there was a strike that took place the north of Beirut in Junia. How significant is that location?
Well, let me start from the attack on the barrage on Shlomi, or Al-Bassa as it was called. Hezbollah announced in a statement that it has launched several rockets towards this town in the north. Now, with respect to what happened in Lebanon, there was a drone attack on a car on the highway, on Junia Highway. And 2 people were in this car, a man and his wife. Now, the type of missile that was hit or that targeted the man and his wife is strange. It's different. This is at least what eyewitnesses are saying. Besides, there were 3 small missiles that were launched towards this family of 2. And at the end, Both of them were killed after they fled their car towards the open areas.
Okay, Ali, thank you so much. Ali Hashim reporting for us from Beirut.